company called Joy with 65 million users, over 150 countries.
I grew up in Baroda, place where Ambanis are from. Gujarat is a place where you're inspired to do business. 500 square feet home. We were 6 people living in it, stacked beds. Being able to come out of it, this is not what my future should be. I went to my dad and said, I want to give GRE. And he said, how much money do you need? $125. All of his provident fund was going to be wiped out. It was the time when Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were prominent figures. Microsoft spotted me. I came to US to get many companies to move to .NET. And then Microsoft basically said hey, you are doing all this stuff in .NET. Why don't you come and join the team? That journey and that change was so dramatic in our life. My first job in India makes 10,000 rupees a month and I'm making $120,000.
You leave this stable career that your family aspired you to have and then jump into entrepreneurship.
My co-founder's sister was getting married and she was like, why do I have better apps to take pictures of my breakfast than I have for my wedding? Why don't you build something for my wedding and then you can use it to demo Azure?
Today's guest is Vishal Joshi. He's the co-founder and CEO of Joy, a company that helps couples manage their weddings, send invitations, get RSVPs, create wedding websites, manage all the other logistics. His company raised over $100 million recently. His company has over 65 million users across 150 countries. And he's here to share insights from his journey as an entrepreneur, as an immigrant, as a dad. I'm very excited to have him today in our studio. So allow me to welcome Vishal Joshi. Vishal, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jasmine.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in today. I know you're here in New York only for a few days, so I'm honored to have you in the studio today.
No, I'm honored to be over here. Thank you.
So, Vishal, if we start from the very beginning, where did you grow up? What was life like as a child? When did you move to the US?
I grew up in Baroda, which is about 5 or 6 hours north of Mumbai. And we grew up in a refinery town. So my father used to work in Indian Oil Corporation. And growing up, we grew up in a place where Ambanis are from, right? Like Dhirubhai Ambani was a gas station, petrol pump person who used to fill up fuel. And then he built refineries and stuff. So it was always inspiring. Gujarat is a place where you're inspired to do business. So I always wanted to do business, but my father always wanted me to be, guess what? Engineer or a doctor. And so
like many other Indian parents, yes.
Like everybody else. So he basically said, no, we are not doing business. We are going to go and do engineering or medicine. And this is in 10th grade. As you know, in India, post 10th grade, you pick science, commerce. And I was like, I'm going to do commerce because commerce is business. And my dad was like, no, you're going to do science. I remember sitting on top of my terrace and thinking this is not good. This, I'm going to do this job. I'm always going to be doing a job. That's not what I want to do. Eventually, though, I got into science, did my science thing, floundered, went around, wasted my time because I wanted to do commerce. I was like, anyways, it's business. And still did manage to get, I think I don't know how it is in where you grew up, but they usually stack rank the kids, right? In US, people cannot believe this thing, that you're going to stack rank every kid, right? 500,000 kids, what's your rank? Mine was 3,000 something, right? Which sometimes for people, it's like, oh, it's good enough rank. But when the rank number 1 can get into MIT computer science and rank number 2 can go to Stanford, rank number 3,500 something cannot go nowhere.
It's a big country,
It's a big country. So, but I still got into NIT and electrical engineering. And electrical engineering, I go in there, I realize that I'm now going to look at these transformers, high tension lines, all these things. And I'm like, damn, this is not what my future should be. I should go and do computer science. It was inspiring. It was the time when Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were prominent figures. So I was like, I should go and do something in that space. So I started going into libraries and reading about stuff. This is, I think, in 1997. And I encountered a book on artificial intelligence. And
Back then,
yeah.
Wow.
And I had no computer growing up. right? Like we had no computers growing up. There was no computer lab for electrical people. But I saw this book, Artificial Intelligence, and so I basically like went, and my friends still tell me that like that was a time when we were like, oh, this would be amazing in case computers can do things like humans. So I went to the professor of AI. It was a PhD professor. And I told him, Dr. Panda, I need to work under your lab. I want to work on artificial intelligence. It was like general term at that point in time. And he was like, no, you didn't study hard enough. You got in electrical. I cannot get you into computer science. Plus, this is not a bachelor's degree stuff anyways. You should just go away. And I would go back to look at more electrical engineering stuff, and like I really did not want to do electrical engineering. So I would go back again to him and say like, can you please take me? And this like almost 6-7 months go by. Every other week I would just go in and he would say like, go away. At the end, around end of first year, so I'm in Gujarat, where I was born in Gujarat. My home is in Gujarat. This is like on the East Coast.
Right.
So now he basically like towards the end of the year, he's like, well, okay, you're pestering me so much. If you finish this one problem, then maybe I will let you work in the lab. But you cannot tell electrical department that you are coming and doing this thing. He gave me a problem statement, relatively simple problem statement, but something related to AI, partial differentiations and stuff like that. That time we were building neural networks in code. So it was.
And this is which year is this?
1998.
Wow.
And I didn't know anything. And this is a college town. Nobody is there. You know, like all NITs are like designed to be in college towns to bring them up. So I decided that I will not go home. And you know, you call Indian parents and you basically say, Sir ne to kaha hai ki karna hai, to I cannot come home. So then they were like, okay, maybe you have to stay there. So like now the whole school is empty, dormitories are empty, everything is empty, and I just stay there. And I go to this PhD people's labs because they are always there. And going to PhD folks' lab was fun. They would basically tell me to read this book, that book. I think within like a month or so, I figured that problem. And then I went back to the professor and I said, look, I've solved this problem that you have said. And he was first terrified that a bachelor's first year student is still here.
Sure. He's
from Gujarat, he should be, and you know, it takes 3 days in train to go. It's like, why are you here? And it's like, you said you will solve this, then I can work with you. So he said, you should immediately go back home. Let's arrange this guy to be sent back to Gujarat because nobody is there in school. And then he said, like, when you come back, then you can work with me. So then I went back home and came back. And then for next 3 years, we did research in neural network. We were doing noise cancellations, like active noise. The Bose headphones were not there at that time. So we were building the noise cancelling headsets.
Nice.
Not really the headsets, but the tech behind the headsets.
But I'm trying to imagine you know, as a young boy growing up in Baroda, no access to computers, probably, you know, no information around you. You find this book, you feel inclined towards it, start learning, reach out to this professor, want to work in this field. What is igniting this interest in AI? Like, is it just self-driven or was there something else?
AI was not the real igniting interest. In all honesty, it was just like coming out of the limited resources life that we had, right? Like our home was a 500 square feet home. We were 6 people living in it. You know, this is probably not very uncommon, but like in a stacked beds, you would take out the gaddi and you're like sleeping all 6 people in a single house. Just like being able to like come out of it, which is what was driving me to think about doing business, which is like, I can see others have a better life and there is one life and I can make my family's life better. AI was just like curiosity, essentially. Like I was always curious and it just was very curious and it felt like that would be the future in some way, which it is now, but it clearly was not then. And I tried to pursue it in many different ways. Like 4 years, we implemented neural network papers and like this is a fun thing to think about, and it's a very common stuff that we all use noise cancelling headphones. Right. We don't think about how they work in a very simple way. But the way they work is that like, you know, you have waves, which are like, you know, sound waves. In some way, you want to produce waves which are almost equal in amplitude, but 180 degree out of phase. So imagine a wave like this, you want to produce a wave opposite. And then they will cancel each other. Right? That's why dysfunctional noise cancelling headphones make some weird noise in your ears, right? So the reason why AI comes into play here is that you try to produce sound equal in amplitude, 180 degree out of phase, but how do you produce it at the same time? It's by predicting what the next wave sound is going to be. And that's where you use neural networks to predict what it is going to be. And you wanted to find out how can you predict it faster, because it needs to be predicted almost immediately, right? And that's why noise cancelling headphones are really good at cancelling repeated noise, because it can predict it better than like suddenly a child screaming. It won't be able to figure that thing out. So that's what we did. Yeah.
And how did you move to the US? Was it because you got this job offer, or
no, not a job offer. What I wanted to come here to do research in neural networks in MIT or something like that. So I first gave my TOEFL to come over here, which is still $125. Then I don't know how much it is, but me getting from my father only $15 a month. $125 is a lot of money.
Right.
I gave TOEFL. I was trying to give GRE, and I went to my dad and said, I want to give GRE, and he said, like, how much money do you need? And I said, like, about $125. So he said, is that all you will need? And I said, like, no, we have to apply to schools, which is about like $100 each. Maybe postage is another $10, comes out to about $400, $500. That's how much. And he said, like, okay, he said, leke aa jayenge, it's not a problem. At that point in time, then he said, like, is there any other money that you need? I said, I will need flight and few days. And he said, like, no, they should actually give you scholarship because you're doing all this work, right? And I said, yeah, they will eventually give me scholarship. Yeah. But I have to probably like at least apply and go. And it felt like it was really stressful for him to just think about, like, because probably all of his provident fund was going to be wiped out by just me trying to go, let alone if I needed more money over there. So I decided I should probably just take a job, which by that time I was programming, so I was going to get a job easily, which I did. I got a job, and I started programming in C++. You probably have heard of C++, right? Like,
no, I have. Yeah. I'm old.
Yeah, so C++, when I started coding in C++, it was interesting that this is 2001-2 time frame, and there are people who have been coding in C++ for like 5 years, 10 years, so or maybe even more. And it was like not possible to really like shine, given there were so many experienced people. So at that time, .NET came out, which was Microsoft's new technology. And I said, maybe I read somewhere that like they have spent $6 billion in making this technology. And I was like, okay, if I am good at this, it's going to be good for me because nobody else is good at it. So I started doing .NET at that time, and I got good at it. I got this MVP award, which is a Microsoft's like most valuable professional community award of some sort, and then that puts you on the map, right? Because I was like first 50-60 people in India to get that. So now they are like flying me everywhere. Now I'm able to like fly.
Your dad is proud.
I'm able to stay in like good hotels, get hot water showers. Like we used to do that bartan and heat up the water and
pani garam karke fir thanda mix karke usme nahate.
Yeah, you know that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but like now you're going to like fancy places. So it was really nice. And then Microsoft spotted me. They gave me MVP, and then eventually like I started giving feedback on making the product better. I came to US to get many companies to move to .NET because they were in legacy mainframe and they wanted to move to .NET. So I got called in to do that. And then Microsoft basically said like, hey, you are doing all this stuff in .NET. Why don't you come and join the team? And so I went and joined the team. But that journey and that change, which I bet that your audience can understand, was so dramatic in our life, right? Like my father is making 5,000 rupees a month, right? Like my first job in India makes 10,000 rupees a month, which is like $100 a month or something like that. And then I am at Microsoft within like 3 years or something like that. And I'm making $120,000 a year, right? Which is dramatically different.
Astronomical for somebody growing up in India.
And then like, my cousins and my brothers, and they all were able to come over here, do their masters, which was quite quite life-changing for us. And then I worked at Microsoft for a reasonable amount of time, like paying my dues for green card, right? Which thankfully happened, and it's very hard for people to get it. Now it's even worse.
Right.
But it took me 10 plus years to get a green card. And during that duration of time, .NET flourished, right? Like Visual Studio flourished. So I ran a bunch of teams at Microsoft building .NET, Visual Studio. And then eventually we built this thing called Cloud, which is Microsoft's Cloud.
Yeah.
So we were in the founding team of Microsoft Azure, which obviously has become a phenomenally successful business. This year, it might probably even surpass AWS, I'm hoping. But it's $100 billion business. And that was like nothing. That was zero. So it has been a fun journey to do all those things. But as a kid, being always wanting to start a company was always itching. And the moment the green card came, it was about time,
Right. So you leave this stable career that your family aspired you to have, and then jump into entrepreneurship. We spoke about it. You have a company called Joy with 65 million users, over 150 countries, if I'm right.
Yeah.
So how did that jump happen?
The jump was I always wanted to build a company. It was more likely going to be in cloud or AI. But when we were building Microsoft Azure, the fun thing was that that product, cloud was unknown to most people. They didn't understand what cloud was, right? Many people really did think that we had done something in the clouds. So they would basically, it's not a joke.
Literally.
Like, they would literally say like, how did you do something with the cloud? Like, what is this cloud? And because it was such a foreign concept, it was difficult to explain to people what it is, right? And what we landed up doing was that for Fortune 500 companies also, they were hosting their own data centers. And making your own data center is not a small thing, right? And you can imagine every company had to have it. Even a small company would have to have like 2 servers under their desk to make it work. That used to take a lot of time for companies to have an idea, which then goes to production. And we had to like demonstrate this concept to people that like you can go to production really quickly with cloud because the servers are already there. We can just go. But to demonstrate that in big conferences of Microsoft, we would have like thousands of people in the audience, and we had to like communicate this. And there was like press and analysts, and cloud is as geeky as it gets, right? Like it's like Matrix looking green and black screens, you type
I
stuff.
actually had to do my own research before I sat in this chair today. I'm like, what is cloud? How does it work? Why do everybody needs to have it? But
So that,
I mean, we all use it. I use it, even personally for my own work.
Yes.
But you don't know how it works, right?
Yes. And that for Fortune 500 companies also, we had to explain it like that this is going to make your life so much better and easier. So what we had to do was to like have some demo apps, and the demo apps had to go live very quickly. The short of it is that you build something from the time you finish building it to the time it goes to production. Usually used to take 5 to 6 months for companies. They had to buy servers, install them, put wires, patches, all these things. And with cloud, it was like you click a button, it's just gone. So we made these apps, fun apps to demonstrate what cloud is. And we would ask all these people to participate in those demo apps. And during that time, my co-founder's sister was getting married. And she was like, why do I have better apps to take pictures of my breakfast than I have for my wedding? Why don't you build something for my wedding and then you can use it to demo Azure? So he said like, yeah, we could make something for Amy's wedding. And the theory at that point was that like, let's build something which is fun, because the rules that people teach you is that like build something that you can use yourself. So we said, okay, we'll build something that we can use ourselves at Amy's wedding. And the theory was what is missing? She wants photos. Let's make a private Instagram. So we built a private Instagram for Amy's wedding.
Sure. I need friends like that, right?
So it was fun. People were using it. People would come and leave Post-it notes at our desk saying, can I use it for my wedding at Microsoft? So it was getting more fun. And you have to imagine that we are building things. Azure is an extremely geeky product for extremely logical people,
Right.
right? And joy is an extremely beautiful product for extremely emotional people.
But also customer facing, right?
Yes. And
Individuals are
yeah,
using it.
It's B2C versus B2B.
Right.
When I had spent most of my life in B2B before Joy. And when you're building something like that, you don't experience the same joys of building that you enjoy when you're building it for consumers.
Ironic, right? The name
Yeah.
is Joy and Joy Building.
Yes.
So when you started this company, what were the first few offerings?
So first was this, which was the private Instagram, right?
ठीक है.
And then the other thing was that like we had the Instagram and we were like, okay, Instagram usually has a history of photos of everybody who's posting. But at a wedding, you have no history.
Sure.
This is the first time two sides of the family are coming together. So we said what we will do is that we'll make these customer profiles look like Bumble. Right? So that like people can look who is coming in a nice way. And you could add your social handles to it. So like I could see who's Jasmine and who's Vishal and so on. And so like now all these people created profiles and they're posting photos. The interesting thing is that all these guests are swiping other guests. They are like, and so we realized, oh, this is like interesting that people are checking out other people. So we added a relationship status in the guest profile. Single, ready to mingle, wink, wink. It was like,
Oh, that gets interesting. So you
So,
get
like,
to
you
meet
could-
some people during the wedding.
yes. And it became fun because people were like further swiping it and things like that. And it was going all fun because it was just like casual product. But then people's friends started asking that can they use it? And when that got to the next level of people who did not even know us, those brides were like, well, you're asking my guests whether they're single, ready to mingle. Why don't you ask them if they are coming?
Okay, yeah, sure. Like, do what you need to do for me.
So the thing is that we really did not even have RSVP. And very soon what we realized is that people are using so many different tools to plan an event. Right? They were using some other tool to make websites, something else to do guest lists, something for invitation, something for RSVP.
Right.
Photos are different stuff. Hotel bookings is different stuff. Gifting is different location. So we really got the sense that like ultimately this is going to become like an operating system for an event. And we were building operating system for cloud. So it was a very natural transition for us to basically like build it like it would be an OS for any type of event. And so we decided we are going to quit and make this into a company. We got offered like really healthy amount of stock to like not leave. But we were like, no, this is the only time we can basically like go. We are leaving the company, not even telling my father or mother.
Sure, yeah. I can't even imagine that conversation. Don't even go there.
Yeah, we were like, we didn't
Like
even want to tell them
Yeah,
because
I'm
they were
sure.
like, you should be kidding me that you just built this whole life. You're like here. It is so good. Why would you want to leave? And if you think about it, everyone who moves from their country to here, by definition, has some amount of entrepreneur spirit in them, right? You just didn't come leaving everything behind, right? It's not very common for everyone everywhere in the world to leave their hometowns and go.
You
right?
want a better life. You want something
Yes.
more from your life, right? That's why you leave everything behind. It's not easy to do that.
Yes, you're leaving your friends, your family, everyone behind. But that instinct is there in almost all immigrants, right? And that's the reason why you basically see in most immigrant communities that people are casually just talking about like, how we should build this, we should build that. Because that instinct, you already have it.
Right.
But making a plunge is just hard. You've already made that one plunge, which most people who are born here don't have to make, right? You already took that first jump, and so you've already exhausted
Sort of taken
that
a
jump.
risk, right?
Yeah. So
There's
now
a
you're like
risk.
at a next level and you just accomplished something and you're like, now do I still want to do this? Or this is already much better than what
Right.
it was.
Right.
But if you foster it, I'm just suggesting that you have the DNA already. You already did it once. You can do it again.
But I think there's this intrinsic fear, right? When you leave everything behind, if you've built a life for yourself, you want that stability. You want to hold on to that. So it's not very easy. As much as you say that it's a part of the DNA, it's not very easy to let go of that stability and take a big risk. And we as a society are taught not to take risks because we grew up with limited resources and an environment that did not promote that. Here in the US, it's a capitalist society. We promote people taking risks, opening businesses. But back home in India, if you got a stable job, like UPSC clear ho gaya, so that's the golden ticket, right?
Yes.
That
if you get a government job, then it's even better, right?
That's absolutely. So government job, private job, baki sab uske niche.
Yes. I probably had wanted to build a company since the time I was a kid. So I was just waiting for the right time, and the balancing act for me was that I had to get my green card. But like my co-founder actually took a leap even without getting a green card on H1B. And Joy's about to be like 10 years old, and he still hasn't gotten his green card. He has been in the country since 2007, Georgia Tech, Masters.
It's hard.
It's hard. So like, and if he would have probably stayed as a scientist in Adobe, he would have had his green card.
But it's also that like inner desire to work on something that you get a calling towards. So going back to Joy, so you started with like a photo sharing sort of platform, evolved into managing RSVPs, creating wedding websites, doing all the logistical aspects. You've been doing this since 10 years now. How has the wedding industry evolved in these last 10 years?
I mean, move from physical to digital is very obvious, right? Like that has happened across the board. People, like as an example, before us was those Kodak disposable cameras.
Right. Like, they're coming back actually.
Yeah, they're coming. And then during our time, like we kind of like changed that into having like apps for collecting photos and stuff. There was a time when apps became something which people didn't want. Earlier it was like there is an app for that. There's an app for everything. And then there was like, I don't want so many apps. So like we went through that phase as well. But physical paper turned into digital paper, as an example. That's like a industry shift that we have seen, that like, people used to do physical save the dates, and now they send out digital save the dates. We've seen gifting change dramatically. People used to get gifts physically, like blenders and stuff like that during their wedding, which no more happens because, well, it still happens. We still have a tens of millions of dollars worth business on that. But now people do cash a lot more. And it's interesting, US, like how many countries leapfrogged into mobile revolution much faster when US was still in the laptop and desktop phase, because they never had that and they just jumped up. This is the same thing. Like most countries actually like had cash funds as a culture, but US did not.
Yeah, I mean, in India, cash is big, right?
Especially not just India. Like, I mean, we are used in 150 countries. Almost all countries except UK, Canada, and US have cash first culture from gifting. And we've seen US change. There were religious debates when we actually like introduced offering free cash funds for guests to give, and people are like, that's a taboo, like how you don't ask for money for your wedding. On a complete contrast, if you go to a Singapore wedding, it's usually like tied to how much is the bride and groom spending, roughly you estimate that, and you give gift proportion to that. So it's almost like you're getting, if you're going to a 5-star wedding, you're going to give more because they spent more. So that's like so clear in that world that, that you're helping them throw this giant party.
Right.
And in US, it is just completely different. And that has changed over a period of time. We've seen how people basically like do hotel arrangements. Like now, many people come from out of town to weddings. Hotel arrangements are a common thing now, which didn't used to be as commonly offered, but almost every wedding now, people offer some hotel arrangements for things. So there's like a lot of those things have evolved, and people have started using these digital tools, which kind of aggregate everything in one place. This was absolutely not the case. Like there were like 15 or 20 different tools people were using. Now they use this one Joy tool, which does like everything
for them.
And
Sure,
that
it's
makes
very
their life
convenient,
much
yeah.
easy. You just sign up once and it goes with you from engagement all the way to honeymoon, and it works out. And then the same tech that we built is now getting used in so many other events, like birthdays and bar mitzvahs and reunions and official parties and stuff like that. So we've seen that evolve. And now the next evolution is with AI, which is going to change
Right.
the way a lot of events are being planned.
Right.
You know?
So when I got married, mamas and chachas did most of it, right? Now
Yeah.
we went from that to tech, then we're now moving one step forward with AI. So how are you integrating AI into what you do?
Finally, I get to work back on AI, which is fun. What we are doing is that think about Joy as like our stick shift car. You know, like it has all the bells and whistles. It works. Either you drive it or your planner drives it. That's how it is today. And what we are essentially doing is that we are adding a whole full self-driving layer on top of it, where you are able to like just plan with this AI. But that's to be announced and to be coming in some period of time. But in the meantime, we've done things like you can create your save the dates using AI, where it creates a nice illustration of you. So you just come in, you upload a photo, and it will just immediately convert it into a nice little
So you're
illustration.
making the experience more personal and better.
Yeah, and it makes it very cute and nice. So people are ordering this. We recently launched a product called Joy Studio.
Okay.
Where you can upload any photo and it will instantaneously convert it into a nice little illustration, and then you can send out that as save the date or a birthday invite for a kid. You know, you can do all of those things. That was one thing that we did. We have built automated thank you messages with AI. So, you know, like it's kind of interesting, but like if you get coffee maker from me as a gift and you want to write, like not everybody can write nicely, and now like, you know, you could go to
or have the time to like individually write to each one of the guests that came.
And so this one essentially, because we understand the guest so well, right, because the guest has interacted with the product and we understand the host so well, like we essentially can create like automatic thank you notes for everyone. So
That's fantastic.
So that is something which is saving people a lot of time. When we first released this product called Writer's Block, which was essentially like, you know, people write speeches and video speeches and things for like best man speech or like bridesmaid speech. We built a tool that basically can write it so that you just express your raw emotions and it will actually make it into a nice speech. It was quite controversial. It was just like, oh, what is happening to love in this world? Like, you know, even vows and speeches are being written. And that's why we called it Writer's Block, because it's very hard when you're full of emotions to write it in the...
And sometimes some of us are not very good like orators or writers, right?
Yeah.
We might have a lot of feelings, but we need some help to put them together.
So so that was very popular. It went very viral.
I'm sure.
It was like on national television and stuff like that. It was like, it went quite crazy. So there's like lots of different areas. We have now, because we have so much data, you can imagine over time, we've helped 250 million guests, like about 2.5 million weddings we have done, and events, other events too. But taking all of that data and then trying to like do something meaningful with it is powerful.
Right.
You know, like as an example, a small application, but we've seen so many events happen. And we've seen the hotels which are used next to the venues. And that data is just so proprietary, and we have it, that we have trained our models to recommend you the right hotel for your wedding. So like where your guests should stay, where we naturally just know that if you're getting married at this place, these are the 4 or 5 places where you should, and we can automatically go and do the arrangement.
And this is your guest list and so forth.
Yeah, and even where your guests are staying is tracked by Joy, where they're coming from, which hotel that they're going to stay, so that you can arrange shuttles. And all of these things are like now being done so much better using tech, like automated messages for reminding people if they have not RSVP'd, right? Like 30% of people don't RSVP.
Right.
And
I'm guilty. I do it on the very last moment, but I know how important it is, right?
Yeah, because you need to know the count to figure out how many chicken or how many steak, and it's difficult, right? So the tech has helped like in a lot of different ways to make event planning significantly simpler, right? Like even the sites which are made are way more personalized, and that we do it with AI as well. So just to make it like super personalized to you, because people are not always, they don't have the same amount of taste that a designer would have, right? They have a taste to figure out what is nice, but to make something nice is hard, because there is like almost, you can produce a million different combination of websites on Joy by changing this, changing that, changing color, changing font, changing positions, changing this. Like for you to make it look right is not easy. Right?
And even if you have that instinct, you might not have the time or the resources to like, sit down and like be able to work on it. So I'm sure that AI feature is really
so now you just basically like come in and upload your photo, and based on that, it will just design the site.
That's pretty cool. I wish I had that for my wedding, honestly.
Yes, it does. So there are like lots of real life applications to AI which are practical and delightful, Like we can look at patterns of bunch of other people, what they do, and like take that and make you experience the same thing much more easily. So that is an exciting new phase of planning, honeymoon planning, wedding planning, event planning. Like now, eventually you're just going to talk to this thing and it's going to do all of the things for you. Right.
So how does Joy make money?
We tried really hard to make money where the theory was where someone else makes money, make money as part of that. Right? If you generally just think about it, that like if someone is spending money and you're trying to make money from them, it's already stressful. They're already spending a lot of money. Now you're trying to make more money from them. It's more stressful for them. But on the flip side, Joy sells about 40,000 SKUs. Like, these glasses, tables.
And that's all through gifting?
All through gifting. And we are just like a full retailer. So like we're literally like Amazon.
Do you have your own warehouses to stock those items, or do you partner with third parties to do it?
No, we don't have warehouses. We actually don't carry any inventory at all.
Okay.
But it's something which is called as dropship. So we essentially place an order directly with KitchenAid, and the KitchenAid warehouse ships directly to your house.
Got it.
So we don't actually touch the KitchenAid anywhere in the process. But your guest is buying, and then the gift gets delivered to your home. But as a small little thing, if you're going out on honeymoon and you do not want this KitchenAid to be sitting at your doorstep, then we have abilities to be able to hold that package.
Oh, really?
Till you come back from honeymoon, and you can release it and say, okay, give it to me at this time. And then, so while Amazon is trying really hard to get you something the same day,
faster, yeah, exactly.
We are trying to hold and like give it to you when you want it.
Because you understand what the couples are up to and what their needs are. So that's actually like catered to their experience and what they're doing in their life.
Yes.
Very personal.
So that is the kind of places where we make money. We make money on actually printing stationery.
Understandable. Is there a subscription fees also?
There is no subscription fee.
Okay. So it's based on the services that a couple avails.
So I think there are many. The way to think about it is that Joy is like helps you with many workflows in your wedding, right? You're designing save the date, you're sending out save the date. There's a free version, but if you want like a premium version, then you can pay for it. Or if you want a printed version, you can pay for it.
Sure.
Now then you go in, you're doing RSVP, it is free. If you do guest list, it's free. Apps are free. Because at that time, it is just us and our software and you and your guest. Most of that is free. When it comes to things where like you're physically printing paper and now we have to pay, then we basically like make a percentage commission. But these are all very good commission businesses. This is not unreal that most printing businesses will make 50 to 60% commission.
I did not know that.
So it's a reasonably good business.
Sure.
It's pretty market. In fact, we are substantially lower than market, and still it's reasonably good business. Physical products make 20-30% margin. That's how much retailers make.
Anyway, right.
So we make the same. The prices are the same as what they are in Amazon. In fact, we have like price match guarantee also. So anyone can basically like confidently buy something at Joy.
So not like, they're getting charged extra or there's
No,
a
yeah.
premium on it. Yeah. So it makes it more sort of practical for them to just be on that website and do everything through that website.
Yes. That's the goal, that you just basically come in once. It's kind of like a guided path to planning a wedding if you want to plan it yourself. But many planners use it too. The same things that you are doing, a planner has
Otherwise,
to
they have to maintain like 10 different Excel sheets to do the same thing.
Right. And so then they basically also use the same tool. Like there's like a broadcast communication tool which can do mass text messages to everybody. So that is an example of a place where we charge money because we have to pay underlying providers to send mass text messages to people.
And you're making it possible for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just think about it. How do you communicate to 200 people at
I
a
know.
wedding?
I hosted my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's wedding 2 years ago. And although we had all the help and people to help us out, but it was a lot.
Yes.
It was a lot. We had like several WhatsApp groups and there's like back and
Yes.
forth. It's just a lot. So
Yes.
I completely see the importance of having a product like this in the market. Now, my question is that you've built this company, you have different things that you're doing through the platform. How did you attract investors to believe in your vision? How much money did you raise? And how did you invite the first investor to come on board?
Well, the first investor happened right within Microsoft. We have a very close friend. They're a very close friend of ours now. His name is James Phillips, and he saw us. He knew our story, what we were doing, and he knew that like whatever you guys are going to build, I'm going to fund you. And he wrote a $500,000 check before even we like had a company.
That's amazing.
And so when we left, lots of Microsoft partners said like, oh, you're leaving? What are you leaving for? And we were like, oh, we're going to build a company. Oh, can I invest? So we had like a
So you had
reasonable
trust
amount of
from
funding.
your co-workers, people you worked with at Microsoft who believed in you and the vision.
Yes, and so we had
So you had
funding
partners.
even before we actually incorporated. We had like commitments before even we incorporated. Then we incorporated, and then we basically like got first set of funding. And then we got into Y Combinator, which so YC in SF. That's when we moved from Seattle, which is where the company was founded.
Right.
It was actually founded in like my friend's garage because we left Microsoft and we basically said like we have to like stay with whatever we have earned so far
Sure.
for many years. And we didn't take salaries for 4 years, right? And we just basically like were using all the capital that we had collected while working at Microsoft,
And investing it back into the company.
yeah, and then we got like more funding, and then when Y Combinator happened, and they essentially told us to like, you should probably move to the Bay Area, and so we moved to the Bay Area, and at the end of Y Combinator, I remember we had barely 150 weddings which were using us. This is 2016. About 150 weddings using us, and we were in Y Combinator, and it just shot up to like 150 weddings a day from like 150 weddings like a month
Wow.
or something like that. And so we got a lot of funding right there because the growth was so viral almost, right? And fast forward, we now have like 2,000 weddings that sign up every day.
Every day. Wow, that's fantastic. So for anybody who doesn't know Y Combinator, educate us. How do they help? How do you get in? What's the impact on an entrepreneur and his journey?
Yeah, so Y Combinator, consider it as like more or less like Harvard for startups, right? Like it's very rare. I think acceptance rate might be even lower than Harvard. But the way they help you is the network. You apply if they like your idea. So usually you go in and you do an interview with the partners at Y Combinator. In my situation, our partners were Sam Altman and Kasser. All these people, they're like very highly accomplished people. And they interviewed us, and they were basically like, oh, what are you building? And we said like, we are building everything about your wedding in one place, and et cetera, very enthusiastic. This is going to be like amazing. And I remember Sam basically like saying, everybody wants to like aggregate all the tools in a single space. Like, why do you think this is going to work? And we were like, because it works. It's really nice. And it was like, no, that's not a good answer. So I said, you want to just see it? And then we showed it to them, and then they saw it, and they were like, okay.
It works.
It works. So, so we got into Y Combinator. You meet every week, and they talk about how are you going to grow the company. There's the basic notion in Y Combinator is that you go in. It's a 3-month program. At the end of the 3 month, you're standing in front of probably 1,000 of the most richest people or their representatives, and you're trying to tell a story about your company. It's like 2 minutes of pitch, which essentially you
But
have
it's a fantastic opportunity for you to get in front of so many people who are
Yeah.
accomplished and willing to invest itself, like just having that platform.
is very, very valuable.
Yeah.
So that it is, and your 2 minutes essentially defines, like if you go and mess up in those 2 minutes, it's not going to be very nice, right? So there's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
You walk in and you basically like tell the story, and what can you tell? We are here for like 40 minutes now, right? You have to tell the story in like 2 minutes.
So what was your pitch?
I remember my pitch at that time was, before Joy, people used to use a lot of different tools to plan their wedding. They would use something for website, something for save the date, something for invite, something for guest list, something for registry, something for hotels. We've built this tool that does everything about your wedding in one place, from engagement to honeymoon and all steps in between, like one account, one workflow. It works beautifully together. And when we joined Y Combinator, we had about 150 weddings, and now we get about 150 weddings a day. And then we showed this hockey
Graph,
stick
yeah.
graph, and then I got off, and people were like writing checks, like, and we raised like $3.5 million
Amazing.
right then. And we got pretty good set of people. We had a lot of Y Combinator partners who invested. We had lots of celebrities who invested.
Yeah, rumor has it that Ashton Kutcher invested in the company.
Ashton
Is
Kutcher
it true?
did. Ashton Kutcher did. And Justin Timberlake did.
Okay.
Right. There were Joe Montana, who is a football superstar, did. Big legendary band lead singers did. So we had like a lot of celebrity investors who invested. That was at that time very exciting, because like, you had not expected that.
And also it validates you, your product, what you're doing, right? If so many people believe in you from the get-go, it just sort of tells you that you're on the right track. And many entrepreneurs struggle with that. Sometimes we spend so much time in our heads, figuring out our next steps, even thinking what we are creating is value add for someone or not. So if you do get that sort of feedback, and money and checks, I mean,
Yeah, I think the key
What's better
thing which
than
I
that,
would
yeah.
say is that like people spend too much time in their heads, like you said, right? Like you spend too much time in your head. Everybody thinks that their idea is so valuable, right? That they want to protect it. It's really not, like it's not, nobody has time to work on your idea. They have their own, and they don't have time to work on their own idea. So let alone working on your idea. Your idea is safe. You can talk to everybody about it. You should, because the thing is that many times which works in our head doesn't work in reality. Right? So you have to
talk it out.
Yeah, we built the app, which was the photo collection app. And that's not the main thing which people use it for anymore, right? Like people use it for all this other coordination stuff. And so the thing is that the only way you evolve is by listening to your customers. And listening to your customers is 10 times more important than trying to make sure that your competitors don't hear about you.
Right.
And people are optimizing for like, somebody will copy my idea, so I shouldn't talk about it. That's absolutely the wrong thing to do. Just talk to everybody. Will you use this? And also know that like most people do not want to disappoint you, so they will actually say, yeah, I will use it.
Yeah,
Like
it's
if
a
I
good
pitch you
product.
if I pitch you a new thing, which then you probably say like, yeah, sure, I'll use it. It needs to go out and be
For
deployed.
people to test it and for you to get real live feedback.
And now with Claude Code and with Codex and with ChatGPT, like you can just build your idea in like literally overnight, right? To at least get feedback.
Yeah. So the biggest reason people don't share their ideas or put them out is because they fear judgment. What do you have to say about that?
I actually would slightly say they might fear judgment, but there is more fear of it getting copied. It's just this weird feeling people have that like if I'm going to work on it someday and it is so good that there's no point in basically, I'm just going to work on it And then the thing is that this tomorrow never dies, right? Like you never work on it. Because talking about it in a casual way, you don't even really have to like present it as your idea. Like today, if I basically talk about any random idea, it doesn't have to be, this is what I'm going to do. Like, would you find it useful? Would you find a tool which would be like a combination of like, which takes care of all of your schedule and your husband's schedule and your kid's schedule together as an assistant? Would that be useful?
I would love that.
Right?
Honestly.
But I mean to say like that possibly a great idea. Distribution of that idea could be hard, but the point is there is nothing wrong with just talking about it. It doesn't have to be like, I am going to do it. Like, why you don't have to attach yourself. The whole point is that you have to first go and find out, is this going to work or is this not going to work? And so we break it down into two types of interviews. One is a problem interview and the other is called a solution interview. And the problem interview is where you don't try to present an idea. You just basically say like, in last 5 days, Jasmine, what annoyed you the most?
Get a list from me right now.
I mean, like, that is a problem interview, right? Or like if you're focused in an area about like kids and parents, then you'd basically say, when you and your husband are trying to raise your kids, what are the things which are very difficult? And you might say coordinating who is going to pick them
Different
up.
activities, logistics, yeah.
But you might say that and then you just absorb that. And that's what is the problem interview, where they are just expressing their problem and you're just capturing them. And then you come up with a solution and then you do another set of interviews
then
where
you test it again.
Then you test theoretically if it is going to work. And now in these days, you should just be able to like make a prototype out of it using Claude or ChatGPT. And then you can just show it to them. Now is the time when you can build a lot more problems that we face as humans are going to get solved very, very fast, right? And we don't realize we face those problems because we just live with them, right? It just is this general annoyance that we have. We don't even realize that we are living with it. As those solutions will start coming up, you will basically like realize that like, oh shit, how did I live without this? And the reason why I'm saying that's always have been true, but now the rate at which these things will get produced is so fast. Like you can have a hyper personalized solution for your family because you can make one for just your family yourself.
Sure. Got it. So if you were to talk to your 25-year-old younger self,
yes,
what would you say to young Vishal?
I would probably tell myself to just actually think much bigger. And it was harder for 25-year Vishal to think much, much bigger because it was a function of the environment that I came from, right? So you live in a small town, you basically like, you think about what you can do based on where you are, right? But if you actually like invert that and you think from a point of view of like, what would be the next project that Elon Musk will do? And you can do it. You just literally can do it. There is just nothing stopping you from doing it. The difference is just that he's probably putting data centers in this space and you might probably think like, oh, maybe I should open a coffee shop. It's fine. Coffee shop is not a problem. But if that's what is your dream, it is totally fine. But if you're doing that because that is all you can do, then that is wrong.
So to think bigger.
Just think as big as you can, because the more difficult and the more audacious that the problems that you have, more people want to help you. Right? You will have a lot more people wanting to help you to put data centers in space than to open a coffee shop.
I personally believe you get what you have the audacity to ask for.
Yes.
Sometimes when I say big words and big names or people I want to work with, my family will say I'm delusional. I said there's very thin line between delusion and vision. You know, sometimes you can call it, if it fails, then I'm delusional. If I'm successful, I'll be the visionary, right?
Yes.
But you have to try to know
Exactly.
who you are and where you belong. If you don't try, how are you going to know if you can get to the other side?
Exactly.
So great advice. What has the biggest failure taught you in your journey?
There are things which hypothetically work in your head and they take time. Time is extremely valuable, the only finite resource that all of us have, right? And when you actually like take too much time trying to make things work in your head, then actually make them work in real life, that is the largest opportunity cost, right? Any project which I think I have worked on for years, thinking that when it will come out, it will be like, oh, it's an
Perfect.
iPhone.
Yeah.
It's an iPhone launch, right? Like, oh my God, this is so fantastic. And we are very design and product driven people. So for us, it is very focused on like trying to make something so right, so perfect, because it's like this only one premiere, one launch moment. And when I say failures, what I mean to say is that like if I would have launched things and built things and got them out in the world outside my head and outside my teams, you would have gotten real world feedback.
Much quicker.
Much quicker. And I think this is true for everything in life, right? Like anything that is just marinating in your head for months and months and years, like just value time more than perfection, right? Like try to get things out. Like I bet if you basically were to tell yourself that could you have started this podcast 2 years ago or 3 years ago, then what you started? Possibly yes. Would it have worked? It would have probably worked. For some reason, you're marinating on it longer than, and almost all of us do this. We marinate on things longer than action. But like if you bias towards just taking action and getting it out, you will learn better, you will fail faster, you will do things right quicker. You will eventually, your delusion will become a vision, as you're saying. Like you will try 3 times and the 4th person will say yes.
Yeah.
Right? But if you waited for that right moment that I will do it when I get Elon Musk on the studio or whoever.
But I feel like the universe also prepares you for that moment, right? If you hadn't done what you did at Microsoft, do you think you would have been prepared to do what you did at Joy? No, right? So it just prepares you for that journey.
I think, every step is leading to the next logical step. For immigrants, it is even harder because you have to deal with this externality of this macro green card and what do you have to do with that and stuff like that. That just is the cards that we are dealt with. But besides those cards, I think that the things which are not in your control, at least the things which are in your control, if you act on them sooner. And then I think that you're right, that everything just leads up. In my situation, I've been waiting to like start a company and build something which will last longer than I will. And that has been driving me for a very, very long time. Like it was green card which I needed. And as you said,
it's fine. We all have our right moments, but I like to believe fail fast, win fast.
Yes.
Like the sooner you try a few different things, and we try different formats for the podcast also, right? Like different stories narrated in a different way. And then I'll get feedback from 5 people and they'd say, oh my God, feels like you're not doing this right, or this doesn't sit well. And the thing, what you said earlier in the conversation, it's important to listen to that, not critically, but listen to that, absorb that, and move fast. Pivot, change, evolve.
Yes.
And I think that dictates if you're going to be successful or not, because we're all going to fail. There's no perfect formula.
Yes.
I haven't found one. I don't know if you have, but I haven't found one. There's no perfect formula. There's no perfection. Although I always debate that creating quality content or creating quality work, product, service, how does that balance with putting it out fast, right? You don't want to wait too much, but you also want to make sure that it's not, shabby work.
Yes.
So how do you balance, like when you're making decisions sitting in your office, like how do you guys decide to launch something? When do you know it's ready?
I mean, the thing is you can always make it smaller. And if you make it smaller, you can make it better, right? If you do a 60-minute podcast, getting it right might be harder, but if you do a short, then maybe you can do it faster and better, right? So you can always, I would never say launch something which is shitty, right? Because it will usually not, or at least that's not what we try our best to like make it as good as possible. But we've oftentimes, not just at Joy, even at Microsoft, everywhere, oftentimes we've basically like just made the scope bigger. So the interesting question is that like, can you make the scope smaller? Because a smaller scope might be launchable faster.
Got it.
Right?
So when you try to do too many things, the quality might not
Yeah, I mean, like
come
just
up.
think about if you're trying to build a restaurant, like there's a possibility that you could basically like be a chef at some private location. You don't have the restaurant, you don't have the setup, but you get feedback on your food. Right? That's what I mean by like make it smaller don't lose the quality, but like make it smaller and faster.
Right.
However way you can make it smaller. In every aspect it is different. But in case of software, you clearly can make it smaller, right? Like Joy as it is today couldn't have been shipped, but like Instagram for Amy's wedding could have been. Right? And that was small part of it, and it was good. And that got us the right to make more and more and more and more, right?
Got it.
Overall, the thing is that like value your time more than you have to compute what is your time's worth. Right? Like in some way, just think about it like how much is your 1 hour worth? And when you actually put a dollar amount to it, this is a very normal immigrant stuff, which is why I'm bringing it up, that like we care about saving money a lot. There's a conversion going on between rupees and dollars and stuff like that. Like you have to ask yourself how much is your 1 hour worth, and tell yourself that every day, that my 1 hour is worth $500, $1,000. I pay my lawyer $1,800 an hour. Like, believe it or not, that's how much it is, right? If you think about like what is your per hour value, anything that basically is you can get outsourced for lower than that, you should. Right? Then you basically like start thinking about it that like, okay, if you want to really like put the baseboard in your house yourself,
sure, you
all
can
power
do it.
to it
Yeah,
if you want to.
You can do it.
But if you're doing it to save money, ask yourself what is your 1 hour worth. Because when you start making that type of decisions, then you will start working on things which actually will give you joy, which will actually make you more successful, which will make you. But we oftentimes don't, right? Like we oftentimes is like, let me just do it because it will save probably a few $100s. That is, I think, very interesting, valuing your time.
I think it's important at home and at work.
At home and
Both
at work,
places,
everywhere.
yes. What you said, I like that. And I also like that analogy of a restaurant. When the menu offering is smaller, you have more chances to get better feedback and deliver better quality, and also optimize based on that. So
Yes.
I've personally found that restaurants which have like 5 things on the menu do a much better job than restaurants who have 20 things, 25, 50, 100 things on the menu, because it's not possible to deliver quality with like a big range of offerings. So it has to be what you can control effectively and scale. So I
Yes.
like that. If joy disappeared tomorrow, what would joy and success look like for you personally?
If joy disappeared tomorrow.
Yes, because a lot of like our identity, our self-worth
I
is
see.
tied to what we do, right?
Yes,
So the
yes.
success of the company probably dictates how you feel about yourself, about work, about your co-workers, right? About your life. If I completely took it out, what would happiness, joy look like for you?
I'm a builder. I would build something else. Right. And I think I would build something based on all the learnings that I have learned so far. Because even if joy didn't exist, I think I've learned a lot. And how you build a company. If I started joy today, I would probably be able to get to the same level in half the time, because you stumble and you learn.
You've
and
made all the mistakes.
You
You've
made all the
learned on the
mistakes.
way.
And I
Yeah.
think that like I would be extremely excited to build something else, which would probably like make our lives better in some way. That's what I would probably like want to do, to like build more things. If I could actually, like I would, like I think my wife is always talking about like how much I'm just always working. But like I'm just wired that way. I would, in some alternate universe, I would probably like spend a lot more time with my family than what I do, because currently it is very consuming and I work a lot. If it didn't exist, then for few months at least, I will basically like just take a chill pill and spend some time with family and like do things. But then I think I'll get back right at it.
I guess we all struggle with different aspects of life, with balancing family, our responsibilities, and also a desire to be with them while we build things that we most
Yes.
love, right? That's a tug of war that every entrepreneur, every business owner, every person, even who works in the corporate, goes through.
Yes.
There is this baby that we're raising, as a company. I like to say I have 3 kids, because I have my business and I have 2 of my own, like biological kids. And there's this whole life outside of it, right? That we're all trying to navigate. I feel like you do your best and then forget it,
Yes.
right? I mean, that's That's all we can do.
Yes.
Any parting words, any words of advice for a young entrepreneur, business owner, student who's looking at this interview today?
I think this is probably the best time to build something. For anyone who is probably non-technical, I would say genuinely use AI. It's a very simple thing that you can do, but like force yourself to talk to ChatGPT or Claude for 5 minutes on anything that you like or desire. Because familiarity with using AI is probably like the number one thing that we will require. The difference that we are going to face over time is the difference between people who can use AI and people who cannot.
To their benefit, to help them. Yeah.
Because I think there are going to be a lot of work which will get automated with AI over time, right? And we are at this cusp when this is going to happen. And it's the same thing as like when machines were replacing in factories, or they were like
internet, and like
all
we've
these
gone
things.
through so many technological changes, even like in our lifetime.
Yes.
I feel like we've seen a lot, from broadband to like,
Yes,
using
exactly.
rudimentary sort of ways to connect to the internet, big devices, to now like very
Yes.
portable devices, the way we use internet, the way we use like other media platforms. It has evolved so much from
Yes.
me as a teenager growing up in India to now living here in the US. I mean, I've seen a massive change.
And I think this is going to be the biggest change of it all. And people who are in the industry, we are experiencing it firsthand, that it is going to be the biggest change that we have seen in our lives. I do not know whether it is compressed in, it is moving very fast also. But everyone should use AI for 5 minutes. And that's like the chat portion of it. But then my point is that like once you are in it, it will tell you yourself, you will know what it can do more. It's difficult to explain what it can do more without you experiencing it yourself. So I think first thing is do that. Second is that like any idea that you have in your mind that you think needs to exist, whether it is a pet app or a family app or stuff like that, you as in anyone listening to this, whether they are a chef or they are a poet or they are anyone, they can talk with this thing and make something happen today, right? Which has never been possible.
Yes.
Like my brother is an environmental engineer who had never programmed, and he has a production software which is getting licenses. He's never coded.
So it's giving us the ability to do things that we've never imagined in
Yes.
a time frame that is unrealistic, pretty much. I mean,
Yes.
it does work.
Yeah,
like
and that's
that,
what I
which
mean.
is
Like that is
fantastic,
something
yeah.
which I would probably say as parting words, that if you really are not using AI, you are going to get left out. And if you are, then you will be among the people who will be the beneficiaries. And the only real difference is you saying, yes, this is not scary, this is not crazy, I can do this, and actually just build a prototype. Like I'm not coding. If you just go and say, I want to build a prototype of an app which does exactly what we just said, your family scheduling, blah, blah, you will actually make it. Like it will make it in an hour.
That's fantastic.
Right? Which never used to be possible. Like we built Joy over 10 years with blood, sweat, and tears. And I think that a lot of that software can be built very quickly.
But there's a lot of value in like the data that you've collected.
No,
right?
and
the
I mean, that's
interactions, like you've seen the industry evolve, the needs of the industry, and if later down, like if it does change the way you work or function, there'd still be so much opportunity for you to leverage on the knowledge that you've collected from like managing so many different events.
Yeah,
right?
I think yes, today's day, building software has become a commodity, right? Just like the way 1 or 2 years ago, writing was a skill which was like only few people had. Now everybody can write good emails,
Sure.
right?
Thank God. We don't have to deal with bad emails.
Yes.
I like that.
And that's the same way as like it's not only specific entrepreneurs with technical skills can make a product. Anyone can make a product in their industry with their dream. Like I was saying, a chef can basically make a software to manage their inventory as in vegetable. They can do it
Sure.
today, right? This is something which is extremely powerful, which was not feasible until now. The reason why I say that like Joy can be built, a lot of Joy can be built quickly, it doesn't worry me because it is not the tech which is the differentiation anymore. It is the distribution which is the differentiation, right? It is, you will build it, but who is going to use it?
Right.
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 It just is
So
that.
you also need to identify who your customer is.
And how are you going to get to them?
How you get.
But if you're building it for yourself, that's step one, right? Like you have some problem that you think you face. If you build that, then you automatically feel so comfortable that, yeah, I can do this.
And if it helps you personally,
It
then
might
you
help
can,
somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's what I would probably say is that like everybody should use AI, because it would be a shame that like people who are left behind, because eventually, it's a confirmation bias, which is like, this is not, it's just a fad. It's not, it is not a fad.
It's here to stay. Yeah.
It is here to stay. It is going to do things so much more than what most people can imagine, because we are literally at the frontiers of this thing. We have made a colleague, an AI colleague who does work for us. And we are building things which would actually like allow you to, this is beyond just what we are talking about here, but like when you're deep into it, you realize that it is able to do so much more than what normal people are just not even aware of. And that's the reason why I feel compelled to tell people that like you have to go use this stuff once you start chatting with it enough, because many people actually don't even do that. Right?
Right.
Like they don't even do that. Like I would probably say that like for hours in a day, we are engaged with AI. Like that's how much we use it. Besides the coding part, which is probably like entire day, we use it. That's just creating information asymmetry between people who are doing it and people who are not. And that's why if you start leaning into it, and if you start basically like, if you're debating a topic, like you should just basically like ask an opinion, you'll probably get factual data, right? Did this really happen, not happen, or is it a fake news? You'll probably like get that stuff. That's what I mean by like the more you lean into it, the more you will get familiar with it. Then you will start doing things which are beyond chat, because the world has moved past chat.
Right. Right.
And we all should, like everybody should be a builder. Everybody should be a builder in their own space. Right?
Love that. Well, thank you so much, Vishal. It was
Thank
fantastic having you in the studio today, sharing your own personal journey and also learning from your insights, building Joy, scaling it, and now, learning other aspects of the business. So thank you so much. I had a great time talking to you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine.